Hello and welcome back to Sovereign Syndicate. Now, this time, we, as Clara, should do a couple of things now that we are at the Braxton Manor. Now, hope for the Comanche, this seems relatively optional, which is why I think I should probably do this first. So, Dante's grudge against his employer has given me my next clue. I should track down the diagrams for the repeating rifle while I'm at the manor. Good thing I've already been invited. So this is what we probably should do first. Fan collector, of course, it's just gonna happen over time. If we don't find all the fans, that's fine. And courtesan killer, talk to Madame Sora. Now, so if we see Madame Sora, I'm gonna wait with talking to her until I've found the plans and talk to the people that want to know about it. Let's see a tattered book. Somebody left out a book here. I found there's at least something worthwhile in just about anything published. If only I still had the spare time for reading that I had in my college days. The title reads, The Tale of the Stable Boy and the Lusty Milkmaid. Great. Oh. I'm certain it has value in its own way. Let's just glance at a passage. See? Here, the heroine is admiring the strength and posture of a horse and imagining how it must look to see it gallop. The next passage seems to be a treatise on animal husbandry, I hope. True, perhaps not every book has value after all. Let's look at the bright side. This is a very transparent hope thing, I guess. Look on the bright side. Though I may not agree with the author's goals, the book's readers now doubtless have a better understanding of equine anatomy. Great. It's important to remember that there are chances to learn anywhere you look. Okay, there's a sarcophagus. Okay, it was frozen for a bit. There's a sarcophagus. Let's take a look at it. I wonder which is more valuable, the Braxton estate or this priceless relic. A seated statue. A pair of ancient Egyptians. Perhaps they were royalty, though royalty usually have fancier hats. There's a globe, very nice. Looks to be the work of an English mapmaker, seeing as the empire's many colonies are prominently marked. A banquet table. If Silas wanted to go the extra mile, he could have had these victuals. Okay, that's just food, okay. Gold plated. He could have, but you know. A collection of relatively cheap libations. Perhaps Silas reserved his more expensive bottles for himself. Okay. Lady Braxton. Approaching the lady of the house is somewhat difficult, not for any great crowd milling about her, but for the unsteadiness in her stance. It's of genuine concern whether she might suddenly topple in if approached from the wrong angle and forced to turn in an unexpected direction. Maggie, come girl, I need a refresh. Let's reintroduce ourselves. Pardon me, I think you've mistaken me for someone else. My name is Clara Reed. We met earlier this evening. Clara, where has Maggie gone off to? It's so hard to find good help. Let's ask about the mummy. That is a fantastic mummy you have on display. Where, might I ask, did it come from? She blinks twice, slowly, trying to focus her eyes on me. Most unbecoming. Why, my dearest Clara, as you well know, my illustrious husband, when he's not working, whoring or otherwise ignoring his matrimonial duties. She sways. Where was I? You were about to tell me where the mummy was procured. Ah, yes, my husband has many important connections, you know. Among them, Sir Flinders Petrie, famed British Egyptologist. Let us just say that when we require a mummy, we get one. I wonder if that sentence has ever been spoken before. And before you ask, no, I do not put stock in those silly superstitions of a curse. Ghastly and depraved, not worthy of mention. She leans forward, eyes wide. It's very clear that she wishes to further discuss the curse in question. Let's ask about that first. You mentioned a curse. Her whole face lights up. She has likely been waiting the entire evening to find someone to discuss this with. Oh yes, most dreadful thing it is. Ladies of upstanding moral fibre should not concern themselves with such. She leans in conspiratorially. There is a distinct possibility she might fall, given the angle. But just between you and I, there is a delicious rumour that this mummy's coffin had a warning on it in Egyptian. All who violate my tomb shall be cursed forevermore. Cursed? Can you imagine? I can, in fact. I knew a priestess of Hecate once who was skilled in such things, but it's best to let her have her fun. Fun that Hecate gets mentioned now that I've started playing Hades 2. A goddess in Greek mythology often associated with darkness and witchcraft. Scandalous, and that very mummy here at the party. Are we all cursed then? I should not like to imagine. Who knows what dangers it might inflict upon your poor guest. Let's go with the first one. Oh, could you imagine? Someone might get injured or catch a light. Her balance teeters, and she almost stumbles into a nearby candle stand. Let's ask about more details. Do you know anything else about the curse? Has anyone involved in the mummy's excavation encountered bad luck? Lady Braxton makes as if to whisper, only she forgets to lower her voice. Keep this just between us ladies, but I hear the ship carrying the mummy was lost at sea, with the whole crew and all their cargo. That's terrible. All those drowned men. Thankfully, the mummy was recovered despite the setback. Express our amazement or our skepticism. Look, I don't want to, upset her, so I'm just gonna pretend to be amazed by it. What an awful ordeal. It does make for quite the story, though. Oh yes, the captain told me as much. Would you believe it? He floated to shore clutching tightly to the casket. Did he now? Showed me the payout from Royal Exchange and everything. London's first centre of commerce, established in 1571. Naturally, given his bravery, I paid extra upon delivery. Let it not be said that I am heartless. An extra cost, and the captain transporting contraband goods sounds like somebody I know. Indeed, Green Street. Likely a coincidence, but even so, I might want to ask him about it. I wonder what is most difficult to acquire in London, the forgery of passports or of insurance claims. Regardless, best to leave it be. She seems content with the story she's gotten out of it. Let's ask about Madame Zora. Pardon me, your ladyship, but would you know where I might find Zora Levitch? Zora, you say? Yes, I think I saw her step out into the back gardens. The evening's quite gorgeous after all. Gorgeous? Isn't it still raining? Oh yes, but it's bound to stop any moment, I'm sure of it. Thank you for your time, Lady Braxton. Charmed, I'm sure. Okay, that's interesting. So we know the back garden is where we advance the courtesan killer case. So let's talk to Willard Rathbone and his ostrich. It's no surprise to see Sir Willard Rathbone here. Silas's penchant for audacious guests seems never to wane. Let's greet Wallace first. Good evening, Wallace. Are you a bit more agreeable now? Not open palm, or else he'll think you're offering him food. I offer the back of my wrist for him to see and smell, so he can comfortably acknowledge my presence. Chirp, chirp. By Jove, is that a break in your cantankerous disposition, Wally, my boy? I forgot what voice I gave him, sorry about that. Perhaps the scent I'm wearing is somehow pleasing to ostriches. Well said, Wally. Let's ask about Silas, about the courtesan killer, or request his thoughts on the unwrapping party. Let's ask about the third thing first. What are your thoughts on the theme of the ball and the main event? Ah, Egypt. I really must get back there sometimes. You've been? Oh yes, it's home to my favorite exotic bird. Bird? Gertrude? I said my favorite bird, Wally. You're my favorite exotic animal bar none. Chirp? Yes, home to the African grey parrot. They're so smart that they need only listen to a sentence once before they can repeat it perfectly. Fascinating. As for the unwrapping event, I don't expect much other than bones and dust. That's what I found when I unwrapped a mummified cat during my expedition. Mummified pets? I remember reading that somewhere, though it sounded so far-fetched. Did they mummify their pets so that they might have their company in the afterlife? Fascinating. Not only company, but protection too. Wally, will you protect me when we cross over to the Choir Invisible? A reference to a poem by George Eliot, describing the hope for an afterlife in the memoirs of those, in the memories of those still living. Chirp, tweet chirp. Oh, he's still sour about the favorite bird slip. Let's ask how you know Silas. Might I ask how you know Lord Braxton? Well, the upkeep and health of exotic animals vastly outweighs any profit they make in public venues. Lord Braxton is one of my more charitable patrons, you see. His financial aid keeps my humble shoe afloat and available to all, which tactfully makes you beholden to him. Ask him about the courtesan killer. It seems death is not merely a reoccurring theme in the party, but in the news as well. What are your thoughts on the courtesan killer? Oh, nasty business indeed. I trust you're referring to the killer's handiwork and not the unfortunate victims? Yes, oh dear. I didn't mean for my comment to come across as cruel. Squawk? Well said, my boy. I may not agree with you and your fellow harlots' choice of work, but no person deserves to be slaughtered in so heinous a manner. Self-righteous tosser. My Wally can be quite the attack dog. If you ever feel your safety is compromised, perhaps you might borrow him, so he'll trail behind you like a trained horse. Oh, that's quite... For a small fee, of course. Of course. Goodbye. Ta-ta for now. Enjoy the rest of the party, Mr. Rathbone. You as well, Miss Reed. Okay, there's the back garden. We don't go there yet. Dr. Wayne... What's... Something is wrong with that. There's another doctor on top of that. Let's talk to Wainwright. Whatever. By the Saints, it's Dr. Wainwright. The one Ivana interviewed by way of my assistance. He looks upset, glancing around as if to find someone to unload his worries upon. Hello, I'm Dr. Clancy Wainwright. It's a pleasure to meet you. Your reputation precedes you, Doctor. Clara Reed, and the pleasure is mine. Tact has increased to level 15. Very nice. How lovely to meet a lady of culture here. One would think that there might be one among the crowd, but up until now, I found myself rather disappointed. He seems particularly perturbed. Perhaps he needs another drink? Ask him why he seems distressed. Get his take on the party's theme. Ask about the interview with Ivana. Inquire about what he's looking for. Let's get his take on the party's theme first. What do you think of the theme? Egypt and mummies and whatnot? You know, I haven't given it a lot of thought, Miss Reed. I've too much on my mind. But as far as the mummy goes, I suppose something that old isn't likely to carry anything catching. Or I hope not. Not even an ancient flesh-withering curse? Whew, thank you for that. I needed a good laugh tonight. No, of the many maladies I've come across in my profession, a pharaoh's curse isn't among them. Let's ask him why he seems distressed. Pardon me, Doctor, but you seem distressed. Is there something wrong? Why, yes, in fact, there is something wrong. Go ahead, Doctor, I'm listening. You see, I'm the chief physician at the Benthal House Sanitarium. And a most unfortunate event has occurred, or rather a series of events. He takes a heavy breath, as if it hurts him physically to think of the subject. Well, to put it simply, A number of my wards have been transferred. Isn't that common for patients to go to other institutions for specialty treatment? Yes, it does happen. But none of these transfers occurred under my approval. In fact, I was not consulted at all, and I'm the general director. That's terrible. Where did they go? Forgive my bluntness, but I suspect my own associate, board member at Benthel House, and our host here tonight may have had a hand in the transfer. You mean Lord Braxton? The doctor nods patiently, clearly feeling better having shared his concerns. Naturally, when Lord Braxton extends an invitation to a soiree, I decided to attend, so that I might speak to him directly. What was his explanation? He has thus far evaded me. He will answer my questions before the night is done, however. Be sure of that. Well, best of luck with that, Doctor. Seems Silas is quite popular tonight. Let's ask about the interview with Ivana. Tell me, Doctor, have you spoken to a woman called Ivana Orsini of late? Ivana said the meeting went well. I wonder if the good Dr. Wainwright feels the same. What? How do you know about that? Oh, I have my ways. Ivana is a good friend of mine. She and I go way back. I'll be secretive. I have my ways. Well, that's not at all alarming. One might start to suspect a conspiracy. One might. However, since there is no sense in hiding it, yes, I've spoken with the woman in question. Climbed right through the window, in fact, of the establishment I was patronizing. Hard to admit to being ambushed in a brothel. Showcasing a level of dexterity, usually only seen in lichens, it must be said, which makes a fellow wonder. Lichens, you say? Any road, the interview did go as well as could be expected in the end. I don't mind a bit of good journalism, and I do like to share what I'm working on, when not confidential, of course. Of course, I shall refrain from pressing further. Much obliged, Miss Reed. Let's inquire about what he's looking for. Excuse me, excuse my presumptions, Doctor, but are you perhaps looking for something? Ah, well, you see, I had been considering... I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I had been contemplating looking for something in one of the upstairs rooms. Scandalous. As I was deliberating, I saw none other than that scallywag Greenstreet emerging from a room. He was carrying a portfolio of sorts, which he hid beneath his coat. I'm concerned that he may have gotten away with, well, I suppose I don't know what it is. A scallywag, that's putting it mildly. Yet clearly he is a man of ill repute, and he has absconded with something of value, as you had intended to. His face just lost some color. That cut to the quick. Well, not in so many words, but yes, any road. I considered alerting someone to what I had seen, but I was concerned to raise alarm about guests venturing into the back rooms. Task updated. Hope of the Comanche. Okay. It's been nice speaking with you, Dr. Wainwright, but I must be going now. Of course, Miss Reed. Best of luck in your adventures. Okay, so Dr. Wainwright seems to think that Greenstreet stole the diagrams and may even have them on his person. I need to speak with Greenstreet and get him to hand them over by any means. Okay. 1 second. Over here we have Tessica Lincoln. Lovely to see you, Ginger Cake. And you, Tessica, dear, how did you get an invitation? I've painted the Lady Braxton many times. You wouldn't believe the closet full of dresses that woman has. So Lord Braxton invited me, and I thought to myself, why not? But did you know that there would be a mummy on display? I can't say I read the invitation closely. To be clear, I don't condone this sort of thing at all. But here we are, and there's not another ferry back to London until much later. Besides, if Lord Braxton is buying her work, then it pays Miss Lincoln to stay a while. And of course, you're here with Tenor. He must be loving the chance to rub shoulders with the London elite. How do you like the party? It's all the better for seeing you. The feeling's quite mutual. This lot of blue bloods don't know how to throw a proper bash. Not like back at home. Indeed, not. With the 400 carrying on like it's their God-given mission. The 400s. A list of New York's high society. I try not to think about that. Ironic, isn't it, that America should fight for independence only to establish their own nobility? Let's go with the second one. I'd never thought of it that way, but you're correct, of course. Very astute, Clara. Let's ask about her husband. Do you think of your husband often? Not as much as I used to, though, of course, I will always miss him. Moving to London was indeed the distraction I'd hoped. As it was for me, at least for a time. Tell her about the bounty on your head. Sure. I had work about the Lancasters, you know. Apparently they've heard that I'm in London and they've placed a bounty on my head. I have word about the Lancasters. Saints, Clara, really? Why didn't you tell me? And to think that violent lout of a husband is trying to haunt you from the grave. Gilbert may have been a violent man, but I had the last laugh in that regard, did I not? Oh, interesting. Poison was a kindness for a man like that. There were always worse ways it could have been done. Well, there we go. I'm not overly concerned with the Lancasters. I'm sure I'll find some way to deal with them. I may have some friends in high places as of late who would see me safe from the Lancaster goons. Let's go with the first one here. I should hope so. Do be careful, Clara. I know full well the sort of devil-may-care life you've led, but I worry all the same. I've lost those I care for in the past. I'd not like to do so again. Okay, let's move on. It was nice to share a few words with Tessica, but I'd best be going. Okay, let's take our leave. Well, Tessica, I must be getting on, but it was good to speak with you. Always a pleasure. Okay, let's keep moving then. There's a ladder, some stone carvings. Okay. A great big block of stone carved with ancient Egyptian figures. The range and quality of Egyptian artifacts in Silas's possession is truly staggering. This one is quite worn, however. That may be the god Horus on the left, but it's hard to be sure. Okay, there's a ladder. I don't think this leads to a different room. If I had a book I treasured so much I'd climb a ladder for it, I'd keep it on a lower shelf. Okay, bookshelf. Books mostly related to science, chemistry and engineering, but also history, law and a few of the classics. Achilles, Iphis and modern Nereid, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry. Nereid in inverts. Okay, let's look at that first. The secluded nature of their culture, unlike the stalwart Minotaur, the towering Cyclops or the clever Satyr, Nereids have remained isolationist. As Ovid writes of Iphis, or as Statius writes via the Achilles, if it becomes Bacchus to trail a gold embroidered rope behind him, to trail a gold embroidered rope behind him, a golden rope, how terribly gauche. Dionysus was saved by Thetis and in some traditions, his foster mother was made a goddess of the sea upon her death. Indeed, we might also look towards a Bacchanalian tradition. Okay, creating the divine, Meiji, Shinto, and birth. We may yet see within our lifetime the utilization of divine providence. It is our duty to harness this elevation to the status of divinity for our own purpose, to control the force of documented miracles and the creation of new gods, that we may have that power for ourselves. Bruslavia, on the subject of a lichen-run state. Oh, interesting. Full moons draw rowdy crowds in Bruslavia. Such traditions reach back long before our modern incarnations of moon creams or other medical treatments. Dr. Smith Victoria English reports a rather festival-like atmosphere as people transmute into wolves, hunt down wildlife, and run freely through the woods. Oh dear, such chaos. The government and infrastructure of Bruslavia evolved with lycanthropes in mind, and so national infrastructure and precautions reflect this fact. Dr. Smith, Victoria English, of course, reports being rightly terrified by such barbarity. One second. The Thiliki Eteria, the cult of Zeus, and the coast of the War of Independence. And from the great storm that divided the Mediterranean only decades ago, it is known that the Thiliki Eteria utilized not only the power of Zeus, but that of Poseidon. That doesn't seem right. Weren't Zeus and Poseidon bitter rivals? Would they both have helped the same people? The Thiliki restored that great temple of Zeus, elevating it to its perch atop Mount Olympus once more, wherein steam airships often docked. And of course we must discuss the matter of irrepressible Lord Byron. Okay, a grand piano? Oh my, here's a piece I wouldn't mind having for my own. Now all I need is a ballroom to go with it. Pharaoh statue. Found the wallflower. This one's unlikely to move from his spot by his own volition. There's a fireplace. For all his technological breakthroughs, Silas still seems rather fond of using time-tested heat sources. Green Street is over here. Okay, I'll talk to the other people first. Leonine statue. A granite lion in its natural habitat. Estates where wonders of the world are flaunted. A desk. A neat desk speaks of an ordered mind. There's the mummified corpse. Nobles will do anything to flaunt their wealth. That disturbs me more than this mummy. There's Tanner. Don't mind me, Spitfire. Just taking in Lord Braxton's mighty fine estate. Lord Almighty, who wouldn't want to live inside this humble little abode? If this estate is humble, then I'm the Queen Lady in waiting. You seem to be enjoying yourself. Miss Reed, if there's one place Tanner Cunningham will shine, it's at a party. And what a party. People from all over the world. These strange artifacts from ancient Egypt, and an idea strikes him for a brief instant. He looks like an awestruck child. I'd almost forgotten the best part. My stomach's all aflutter about the guest of honor. I can't wait for them to unwrap that old-time luminary. Did you drum up any new business? Young lady, if I'd thought to bring my deeds and papers with me, I'd already be richer by £1,000. But the prospects are promising nonetheless. The talk of a mummy's curse doesn't bother you? No, ma'am. Just some fairy tale English nonsense. Right superstitious sort of folk, if you ask me. Now, I've seen saints and magic men do some miraculous things, but dead mummy magic? Hogwash, my dear. Oh? Why, I bet this wrapped up fellow was just a palace scribe, or even some so-and-so off the street. Leastwise, that's what I gather from what I know of the mummy trade. Who's out there tabulating curses for the everyman? That is a surprisingly sensible view of it, at least as far as curses go. Well, keep at it then. Persistence is the key, and men like you never seem to run out of that. I beg your pardon. That sounded like a barb, and I do believe that's just what you intended. You wound me, Spitfire. To my surprise, the man does seem chagrined by my joke, an emotion I had not thought him capable of. Then he grins like a jackass and brays like one too. Not to worry, Spitfire, just pulling your leg. You know I'm like a rock in the red Texas sun. Couldn't burn me if you tried. Let's make our exit then. Well, Dove, I suppose I'll leave you to it. Alright, Spitfire, go and make the rounds. Don't worry about me. I'm just fine right here. Okay, the butler. Is there something I can help you with? Sure, let's ask him about Madame Sora as well. I'm looking for another guest. I wonder if you might help me find Sora Levitch? Ah, yes, the woman in the lovely black dress. I believe she ventured into the back gardens for a bit of fresh air. The back gardens? Thank you. My pleasure, madam. Okay, I don't think we need to talk to Iron Bear before we talk to Green Street. Miss Reed, well, nice to see you again. Green Street is shocked to see me here. It's written all over his face. I don't suppose you brought your fee for passage that we spoke about earlier? I don't have it, but who knows, perhaps I'll find an investor here at the manor. If any woman could pull it off, I'd put my chips on you, Miss Reed. Let's ask him about the portfolio. I'll cut to the chase, Green Street. There's a certain item I've been looking for, something I believe is of interest to us both. Right, of course. The pate is on the table over by the window there. Not to be missed, I agree. Fast talker this one. I'd have an easier time pinning down a bird on the wing. You were witnessed slinking out of Lord Braxton's private rooms with a portfolio hidden under your coat. That's given him pause. The depth of your paranoia is something, Reed. But the fact of a simple fur trapper like myself getting turned around in a sprawling mansion like this isn't much grounds for a conspiracy. No doubt about it, that portfolio is on his person, and the diagrams with it. Ooh. Can I? Oof. I'll take care now. I'll quickly save, because if we fail a quest simply because of a failed check roll like this, you know, like completely fail a quest, that would be just devastating. That's something that I don't really enjoy about the roll system here. Like if you compare it to Disco Elysium, which like this game invites the comparison because it's very much based on it, or inspired by it, I'd say. The fact that in Disco Elysium you can reopen checks like that is very nice, and here it's just all one-time only checks and stuff like that. So I am willing to like save scum mission critical stuff. So let's do this. Tell him you have a buyer for the diagrams. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. That works. Hold your tongue a moment. I have a buyer for those diagrams you nicked. Just hand them over, and I'll cut you in later. Is that right? Well, at least you're finally talking some sense. He looks ready to hand them over, but draws back at the last second. Ah, that's just one thing. A little bit of insurance before you waltz off with your prize. Say £2? Sure. Fine, take your money. Thanks much, Miss Reed. I'll be looking forward to our next transaction. Okay. We've got the rifle schematic, £2 lost, and I assume we can return it now. And now that I have the diagrams for the weapon, I should bring them to Iron Bear. Very good. Let's take a look at them first. A detailed diagram of the moving parts and mechanical pieces needed to construct a steam-powered repeating rifle. Okay, Iron Bear. Hello there. It's written all over your face, Miss Reed. You've been searching for the diagrams here at the manor, have you not? What news do you bring? Though normally impossible to read, Iron Bear cannot keep the tremor from his voice. I have the diagrams. Here they are in all their glory. Iron Bear accepts the stiff bond papers with an almost religious reverence. He scans them hungrily to confirm their contents, then hastily hides them away again. I don't expect that you're familiar with our struggles against the Republic of Texas, but I gained this at the Battle of Plum Creek. He traces the scar on his cheek with one finger. What I lost was a brother and many more fellows of my tribe. The Texas Rangers and their allies attacked us in revenge for the great raid launched under Chief Buffalo Hump, which in turn was revenge for the hateful treachery against our peace delegation. It sounds like a full-scale war. A raid begets vengeance, and vengeance begets massacre. But this technology, this repeating rifle of Braxton's, will finally break this chain. The Comanche will recover their security, their dignity. You have my deepest gratitude, Clara, and the gratitude of the Comanche nation. Think nothing of it. Okay, I shall not linger here much longer. My mission is complete. Goodbye, Miss Reed. Goodbye, Iron Bear, and good luck. Okay, so that mission is complete. I haven't seen another fan. I don't know if we can go back outside and talk to maybe Atticus about the fan. No, we can go to the front drive. Let's see if there's people out there. If there's anything of note here. I'll quickly have some more tea as the outside loads in. This is good because I've been like kind of sick for like a week now, and my voice is still not quite there yet. So I'm trying to mitigate the damage I'm doing with this with some tea. I don't think I got to look at the front garden because we were in dialogue all the time. So let's look at that stuff. As with everything else, Lord Braxton spares no expense on his greens staff. Okay, there's a bench. Let's sit down maybe, or look at it. A place to rest and take in the scenery. Don't see much of that in London. Okay. Then over here we have a Arsenal sentry. It isn't exactly lifelike, but it certainly is intimidating. Parameter secure. I suggest drinking wine for enjoyment. Okay, I can't walk past it. That makes sense. That is fine then. Anything else around here? Just another bench. I doubt there's anything at the gate. We cannot leave further that way. Can we walk this way? What is that? That's just a tree in the way? Okay. So that's all there is on the outside. I suppose maybe the other characters will have more to do there. So let's go back inside and go back outside to the back garden. See what Madame Sora has to say about the weird room, the courtesan killer, and especially in her defense. If Sora is involved in the murders, I'll have to confront her. If I leave the party, I may not have the opportunity to come back. We've done everything inside. Let's head outside. The manor moves with a life of its own. Lord Braxton has pulled strings to divert hydroelectric power from the nearest dam, making it the first English house to be wholly lit by water-spun turbines. Hasty liaisons of gentlemen and escorts creep down the rose garden path every night, Lord Braxton's love of soirees being unending. Also unending is Lord Braxton's desire to flaunt his status, with paper lanterns, bonfires, and even dirigibles gracing the manor's grounds and skies whenever special occasions unfold. Behind the manor's closed doors, when special occasions unfold behind the manor's closed doors, this place is an ode to wealth and to detachment from the harsh realities of London life. Let's continue. Do another quick save. Let's see what's going on out here. Is it... Okay, just Sora. Okay. There's Sora. I'd better speak to her while I have the chance. Ah, Clara. I was sure we'd run into each other. Madam Sora, may I have a moment of your time? Whatever it is shall have to wait. I must return inside. I'm afraid it can't wait. I've some rather urgent question for you. Now's not a good time. I'm quite busy. I need to speak with you about Ivana Orsini. I believe there is a chance your life is in danger. I've been investigating the murders at the Velvet Rose, as well as its connection to the other courtesan killer victims. Let's go with the third one. Her brows knit with uncertainty, her eyes darting about to see if anyone overheard us. By yourself? Surely that's quite dangerous, is it not? Not alone. I'm working alongside an interested third party. I'm hardly a stranger to violence, as you well know, Madam Sora. I'll go with the first one here. Is that so? Several of their agents are in attendance of this party as well. Are they now? How good that you are not alone tonight. Have you any idea where Ivana is right now? Somehow Ivana Orsini is the key to all of this. In truth, I had planned to meet her here. Surely you won't mind if I tag along. Perhaps the three of us could have a discussion. No, Miss Reed, I'm afraid that's out of the question. Then perhaps you could speak with me before she arrives? Very well, Miss Reed. What would you have of me? Tell Sora that she is your primary suspect. Tell Sora that you suspect Ivana is the killer. Tell Sora that you suspect Sykes is the killer. Confront Sora about her familial ties to Ivana. I don't think Sykes is the killer. I think that she is the killer. Let's go with the fourth one though. Why did you not tell me that Ivana was your cousin? In a business where kissing and telling is the kiss of death, it seems only sensible to keep hidden that I'm related to a journalist, Miss Reed. Keep it from our clients, perhaps, but why would you need to hide such a thing from your workers? And why would you suppose it any of your business? While we are family, our relationship is a long and rather complicated story. Perhaps it's best if... She looks suddenly off to the side. A hirsute woman. Hello, Sora, Miss Reed? Miss Reed? Good heavens, is that Ivana? Ivana, how on earth did you get... I was just about to come speak with you. The reasonable Sora I spoke with is gone. Her haughty professional demeanor returning with haste. You know, being a journalist has its advantages. The opulently wealthy do love fluff pieces on their events. Ivana seems in quite the hurry, tension evident in her every step. It's hard to see in the half-light, but... Clara, I'm sorry to pull Sora away, but she and I have matters to discuss. There's a lupine hunch to her shoulders, and no one could ignore the fur patches on her face. A partial transformation? Then it's true, Ivana is a werewolf. I'd prefer to come along. Madame Sora and I were just discussing. I assure you the privacy is not for me but for Sora, unless you would prefer to have this discussion in front of Miss Reed. Very well, Ivy, lead the way. Ivana leads as quickly as she came. You will wait here if you've any understanding of what's good for you, or any regard for the safety of your person. I need to speak with Ivana alone. I have never seen her this disquieted. Now goodbye, Miss Reed. Enjoy the rest of the party in our stead, won't you? God's teeth, I can't simply let them wander off. Regardless of the killer's true identity, these two are vital players in my investigation. Then I can't allow them to waltz off into the night. I can still catch up if I make haste. Okay. End of chapter. I mean, we're not going to solve the man who can dominate a London dinner table can dominate the world. So yeah, I don't think we're going to find the courtesan killer before like the very end. We still haven't played as Atticus, Otto or Teddy in this environment, so makes sense that it's saved for later.